discussion. And so last time we were together, we talked about the way things look for binding and non-binding, well, for binding price floors and binding price ceilings. But so we haven't handled the other case, which is the non-binding case. So this is the procedure for working through price regulation problems. I'm going to try to. Okay. So, and this is my recommended procedure. Okay, so if you do something different, that's fine. So I would always, graph the problem first. And that's just, again, so I can get everything working in my mind. I understand how things work. But the second step is determine whether the price regulation is binding or non-binding. And then 3, if binding, then do analysis as we did last time, or if non-binding. And I'm just going to put here nothing. Okay. Now, I said this in passing last time, but I don't know if you all remember. But I'll just talk to people. Hi, Alondra. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So do you know what I mean here by if non-binding, nothing? Does that make sense to you?
Not really.
Okay. Well, do you know what a non-binding price regulation is?
No.
Okay. That's good. Well, okay, so I'll tell you, okay. A non-binding price regulation is one that does not affect the market. Okay. So do you remember we gave an example of and remember there are 2 types of price regulations. There's price ceilings and price floors. And do you remember we gave an example of a price floor, which is an example price floor. Price floor is a legal minimum price, right? Which means that the price has to be at that minimum level or above it. And do you remember what we talked about as our main example for a price floor?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, it's the minimum wage. Do you see how the minimum wage, it's a minimum price, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the minimum price for labor. You have to pay people $15 an hour or above, right? And so if you think about the labor market, one of the things you might realize is who normally gets paid minimum wage at a minimum wage job.
Like retail workers and restaurant workers, like
Yeah,
fast food.
and so how would you characterize those people in the labor market as being different from, let's say, doctors, lawyers, engineers, economists, or electricians and plumbers, right? How are retail workers and people working at fast food restaurants different?
They're different as in they're not really they don't need like an education to be able to enter into those workforces.
Yeah, so the difference is, like, the way that we say it in economics is it's skilled and unskilled labor, right? If you're somebody that requires no training or very little training, you just go into Target and you spend a week learning how to run the cash register and go beep, like the person at the register in Target. I don't know. Do you go to Target, Alondra?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I like Target. My daughter calls Target one of her happy places, so she likes to go to Target too. Um, but do you ever check yourself out?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, like, and did you require any special training to do that?
No.
No, right? It's like so easy, right? You just like scan beep, and occasionally I do get stuck on the machine because I do something goofy, but yeah, these are occupations that require very little training. They're low skilled occupations, and those are the people normally that are at the bottom of the wage um, earners, right? And for obvious reasons, right? Because it's like something that like anybody can do. So, or many people can do that kind of work, and it doesn't require hardly any training. But if you're talking about somebody who's an electrical engineer or economic analyst, or a lawyer or a doctor, you can't just go in there and like throw on a white coat and begin diagnosing people and treating them for everything from cancer to brain dysfunctions, right? You need some specialized skill to do that. So so but how this relates to binding and non-binding is that if we're talking about the wages of skilled labor, so we divide the labor market into skilled and unskilled, then the minimum wage being $15 an hour, right? Would it ever affect how much a doctor was paid?
No.
No, right? Because doctors are all going to earn more than $15 an hour anyway, right? So it has no effect. It's non-binding. So binding means like like it's restraining or it's holding, right? If you're in a non-binding situation, if you have a price floor that's below the current equilibrium price in the market, then the equilibrium price in the market is already in that legal range above the minimum legal price. So it has no effect on the market. So that's what I mean by nothing, is that it's just a regular market. You can throw the price floor, the price regulation out. It does nothing to the market. It doesn't affect the analysis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, but this is a really important step as you work through the problems on Ignithium. If you don't do this step of determining whether or not the regulation is binding or non-binding, then you'll answer some problems wrong, because the answer in the non-binding case oftentimes is like zero because nothing's happening, just for example. So, and you have to be kind of careful again on Ignithium because the numbers are random. So some questions in some versions will be binding, and in other versions will be non-binding. So you got to pay attention. If you don't do all three of these steps, then you won't get the right answer. So do you have any questions about that, Alondra?
About the lithium?
Well, no, not about lithium, but about
Lithium.
how to solve the binding, non-binding.
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay, okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions about this? No. Okay. Well, I'm gonna then end lecture early today, and I have some videos that I started to post on our next topic, which is analyzing markets for taxes. And I would refer you to those videos to watch, you know, for the next half hour, because again, that's our next topic, and we're gonna talk about it as soon as we're finished with doing our sample exam on Thursday. But I'm not gonna add anything else to you other than the sample exam for Thursday. Okay, so let's see.